Another blockbuster trade. The Chiefs are trading their star wide receiver Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins. Our NFL insider Jason La Canfora is confirming that news. Kansas City in return, well, they get 5 draft picks, including Miami's first rounder this year. The others are a second and a fourth round pick this year, as well as fourth and sixth rounders in 2023. This trade comes after the Chiefs hit a stalemate in their contract talks with the 3-time All-Pro. Let's welcome in NFL insider Jonathan Jones here. JJ, when we were talking to you about Juju Smith-Schuster, you said, I need to point out Tyreek Hill and I need people to keep an eye on this. You were the first one to report it. What happened?
Well, so here's what happened, and you're right, Amanda. After the Juju Smith-Schuster signing, that was really sort of the first signal there. The issue that arose was the Davante Adams deal that an average annual salary of $28 million per year. That eclipsed the DeAndre Hopkins deal that, ever since he signed that extension, was the high watermark in the NFL for wide receivers. So Davante gets $28 million, and all those talks that Tyreek Hill and the Chiefs had for several weeks. Well, hey, I want more money. It's not enough to just be over $20 million per year. I want more than Davante Adams. And obviously, with this deal right here, we see that Tyreek Hill is getting more. But the Kansas City Chiefs did not want to meet him at that point. Very obviously, that's when they opened up the possibility for Hill's representation to start talking with other teams, potentially getting trade offers, and that's what they got from the New York Jets, who frankly had a much higher draft pick in this year's draft to offer for Tyreek Hill. But Hill goes to the Miami Dolphins for a ton. When you look at it, a first, a second, a couple of fourths, like, this is far, far more than what the Cleveland Browns gave up for an Amari Cooper. Now, I'll take Tyreek Hill over Amari Cooper straight up, but when you look at what the Miami Dolphins just gave up for Tyreek Hill, that's a really, really big amount. It's, similar to the amount that the Raiders gave up for Davante Adams when you start looking at the trade value chart and everything that is involved there. This is a massive deal for a guy who just turned, I believe, 28 years old and is going to be doing in the NFL for some time.
So, JJ, giving up that much, we went through all of the picks there. How would you grade it? Do you agree with giving up that much?
I don't love Tyreek Hill in Miami with that quarterback. Tua Tagovailoa is not a guy who can sling the football down the field all the time, right? He's a shorter pocket passer. He has never been known to throw the football with a great deal of accuracy down the football field. Tyreek Hill matched up pretty well with Patrick Mahomes and that Kansas City Chiefs offense. Obviously, we have to wait and see what Mike McDaniel has in store for this offense. We can look back to his days in San Francisco and understand, okay, they're going to have some zone rushes. They're going to have some horizontal passing schemes. But they already have Jalen Waddle, who's very fast. Now they have Tyreek Hill, who's even faster. So they have speed, and they have speed for days. And they just signed Cedric Wilson Jr., the former Dallas Cowboy, to a nice 3-year deal. So they have pass catchers at wide receiver. Let's not forget Devontae Parker. Let's not forget Mike Gesicki, the franchise-tagged tight end as well. And they just added Teron Armstead to protect Tua's, I guess, not blind side because he's left-handed, but he's the left tackle there in Miami, the new one, newly minted. So this Dolphins team on paper looks pretty good from a name standpoint. But how is it going to look throwing the football down the field? Is Tua just going to throw it up there and hope that Tyreek Hill outruns everyone? Because he will. It's just a matter of Tua throwing downfield with accuracy in a way that we haven't seen so far in his career.
So, JJ, you point out a lot of questions there when it comes to the Dolphins offense. Now, try to give us some answers. How do you think Tyreek Hill fits in with this Dolphins offense and Mike McDaniel?
Well, it's going to be, yards after the catch. If you don't have a guy who's going to be throwing it 20-plus yards in the air down the field, it's going to be incumbent upon those pass catchers to do something with the football after they catch it. And I think we saw that in San Francisco with Jimmy Garoppolo, a winning quarterback, but a limited quarterback who picked and chose his spots to take those shots, but very much enjoyed the Deebo Samuels and the George Kittles of the world, catching the football and running with the football after the catch. Two of the leaders, certainly Deebo Samuel, but two of the leaders in the NFL in yak. So let's replicate that in Miami. Let's get a quarterback who's not going to make a ton of mistakes when throwing in the short to intermediate part of the field, who's going to get the football out of his hands quickly, who's going to be able to diagnose what's happening in front of him rather quickly. And let's get the ball in the hands of Jalen Waddle. And maybe that's horizontal passing scheme. Let's get the ball in the hands of Tyreek Hill, who just beat press man coverage like he's going to see in that division. And let's get Mike Gesicki out there blocking and being that not only a decoy, but also that weapon in the passing offense. So all of those things can happen. It's just, again, if you really want to keep throwing the football down the field, I'm not sure this is the quarterback that you want throwing the football down the field, but all that said, if you ever want to throw the football down the field, you'd love to have the likes of Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill to throw to.
JJ, I feel like I have seen you more this offseason than I did during the actual season because of the amount of blockbuster moves that have been happening. I mean, what do you make of all of this in comparison to what we've seen in the past?
I think, and that's a great question, Amanda. I think that a lot of this, it's teams who are not falling in love so much with their draft picks, who are able to say, you know what, maybe it's more of a Patriot way where, hey, all right, we'll go ahead and cut this person loose a year too early than a year too late. Does Davante Adams still have something left in the tank? And could the Green Bay Packers absolutely use Davante Adams? Sure. Absolutely. Same with, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs and Tyreek Hill. We're also seeing an era of player empowerment that the first real wave hit the NBA 5-7-ish years ago as super teams were being built a decade ago, and then you started to see it creep down more, and now we're seeing it in the NFL, and it's something that we saw with Kirk Cousins and his guaranteed deal. We saw it with Julio Jones and his guaranteed deal a couple of years ago with the Atlanta Falcons. Frankly, we just saw it with Deshaun Watson and his guaranteed deal of $250 million nearly. And now we're seeing it with Tyreek Hill where, hey, if you guys aren't going to make me the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, let me go somewhere else. And you have teams that are willing to give up the draft capital. That's also something that we haven't really seen before because so many teams have treated these draft picks like gold. They've tried to hoard them for so many years. And now it's like, well, you know what? Let's go after the proven guy rather than the draft pick who in the first round, you got a 50-50 hit rate there. And that's just in the first round. And those numbers obviously decrease the later you go. Is it a sort of symptom of what we've seen from the Los Angeles Rams? I think that has something to do with it. I just don't want to act like the Rams have really started this trend. I think that they have been a part of the proliferation of this trend across all professional sports, and they took it a step further in the NFL, getting the Jalen Ramseys, getting the Matthew Staffords, and now we're really starting to see it trickle down even more across the board, both with teams and with players.
Jonathan Jones, we appreciate it. We also appreciate you giving us the heads up on this a couple days ago, saying pay attention to Tyreek Hill, and sure enough, you were right. So according to JJ, Tyreek Hill looked at Davante Adams and said, you know what, I want to get paid. The Chiefs could not make it happen, but guess what? The Dolphins could, giving up a handful of picks there. But sure enough, Tyreek Hill looking at average annual value, now the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL.
Up next, we'll get the perspective of a former defensive back. How in the world are you going to defend this Miami offense when you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle?
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.